Welcome to another deep dive. You with us again, ready to explore. Today, we've got Bob Camblin, the artist.
Yeah, really interesting guy.
We've got a bunch of stuff here, right?
Yeah.
Quotes, a biography, writings about his art, his philosophy. And he's kind of a mystery, right? Famous work, people love it, highly sought after, but the man himself, kind of elusive. So that's our challenge today, to figure out what made this guy tick, what we can learn from him.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, we're building a picture, right, from all these pieces.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's just jump right into it. His quotes, right off the bat, you kind of get a sense of his humor. Fortunately, some things remain forever or another 10 years, perhaps.
Right. Well,
Like he's not taking himself too seriously.
not sentimental.
Exactly. Doesn't expect things to last,
Yeah.
but appreciates them while they're here, you know.
Present moment. Yeah.
Okay, here's one. Little poetic about loss, maybe. 3 cottonwood trees, dense cluster of new branches, now with them gone. Look.
Interesting.
That look
Yeah.
at the end. It's like, he's telling us to pay attention.
To what's left.
Exactly. To
Yeah.
see things in a new way, because those trees are gone now.
Loss changes things.
Yeah, very much so. Okay, this one, it's, well, it takes me back.
Well,
As they approached the memory of songs and music stopped at the moment the texture of its decay became visible to them. Sad how we all aged at that moment in time, salt air summer 1967.
wow.
Like you can almost feel that summer air, you know.
That shared moment.
Yeah, and the realization that time keeps moving.
And we age with it.
We do. Okay, this one's a bit more philosophical, I guess. Look into the atom, you get what you need. Look into magic, and you get what you need. Philosophy and art are in both.
Connecting everything.
Yeah, I mean, science, magic, art, it's all kind of the same search, right? For
Yeah.
truth, for understanding.
Unified somehow.
Right. So here, this one's interesting. I will stick with common sense and try for the perfectly average view of the universe. Intensely bright gray.
That's so Camblin.
Intensely bright gray. What does that even mean?
It's not just boring gray, right?
No, it's like vibrant, a mix of everything, not black and white.
The in-between.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, here's one about intuition. The sixth sense is to be, without a doubt, senza dubio. No doubt. Pretty strong statement.
No room for questioning.
Right, like when you just know something deep down, no need for proof.
Inner certainty.
Yeah. Okay, I like this one. Bright day, and I soar. How cruel that my soul is attached to this earth, and yet.
Yearning for something more.
Yeah, like being pulled in 2 directions.
Yeah.
Wanting to be free, but tied down.
Part of the human condition, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a good one. I cannot tell a lie to myself for very long. Camblin, 1974. Find something in nature that completes you and then surrender.
That's powerful.
Nature, honesty, surrender. He's got a point, right?
Yeah.
Like, nature can teach us so much if we just let it.
Let go of our ego, maybe?
Exactly. Okay, here's some of his core principles, I think. The light is all you need. The end is to evolve by doing the best you can. The means is to amplify what you're doing and believe. Very Camblin, right? Light, growth, belief. Pretty good recipe, actually.
Simple but profound.
Yeah. In the balance, patience, and yet, freedom again, and yet, in silence, the reality can be maintained. So balance, patience, freedom, silence. It's kind of Zen almost.
Like a meditation practice.
Yeah, maybe it is. Finding that stillness within, the chaos.
He keeps coming back to that balance idea.
He does. Okay, this one's, well, it's interesting. About love.
Mm-hmm.
In the reality, the pain that I move away from, true love moves to indifference to protect itself.
Mm.
A little cynical, maybe. Or just
It's
realistic.
protecting yourself from hurt.
Yeah, I guess when you really love someone, you're opening yourself up to that possibility.
Vulnerability can be scary.
It can. Okay. Sublime in the ridiculous, look for the forgotten, but become what you are, less only is. I like that one.
Be yourself, essentially.
Yeah, and find the beauty in the unexpected.
Strip away the unnecessary.
Right. Okay, here's his take on art. Art is not just images. Art for art's sake has become art for life's sake, or art for my sake, or art for survival's sake.
Deeper than just aesthetics.
Yeah, it's essential for him. A way to live, to survive even.
Art as a necessity.
Okay, step off the train of thought. To find the power that is no power. To do the work that is not work. To laugh the true laugh. Bending is not bowing.
Wow.
That's a lot to unpack.
Letting go of control, maybe?
Yeah, and finding that effortless way of being.
True laughter, true work.
Balancing and being for and against. We missed the clouds, and for a moment regretted it. Then is lightning, the mind ripped out in flashes of variations to reach the still pond.
That's beautiful.
So much imagery, right? The clouds, the lightning, the still pond. It's like he's describing a moment of sudden insight.
After a moment of missing something.
Yeah, exactly. Like you have to lose something to really see it.
Interesting.
Okay, here's some practical advice. Argue, bark, talk, purr, zoom, sing. When you think, don't act. When you act, don't think.
Separate the two, he's saying.
Right. Focus on one thing at a time. Be present.
Don't overthink it.
Right. Okay, this one's funny. We talked of changing the world. He listened, then took 21 cents from his coin purse to pay for his coffee and left.
Ah, I love that.
Back to reality.
All that talk, but gotta pay for the coffee.
Yeah. Okay. The cosmos waves as me with tree leaves, sun-heated air moves across the electrons of my skin. Sunlight reflects those greens. First, white, then yellow-green, and in deep shadows, blue.
So vivid.
You could feel it, right? He's so connected to the natural world.
Part of it all.
Yeah. On the tower we set facing the clouds, Act 1, the White Mountains, Act 2, the cold wind, Act 3, the lightning. We leave before the show is over.
Nature as a performance.
Right. Like a play unfolding. Okay. The rain-soaked willows brought me to my senses. Short and sweet.
Back to basics.
Yeah, sometimes that's all you need. He walked by so slow that my writing slowed. My heart and also the wind.
Everything's connected.
Yeah, little things can have a big impact. Right. Okay. This one just makes me more curious. There is one joy that exceeds all other, and that's all I'll say.
He's not giving it away.
Nope. Some things are maybe too good to describe.
Unspeakable.
Exactly. Okay. Not a leaf moves, and yet we all feel the cool breeze. That's interesting.
Shared experience.
Yeah, but not something you can see, more like a feeling.
Intuitive.
Right. Much better than arguing is to look at my watercolor palette. Makes sense, coming from him.
Peaceful pursuit.
Yeah. White is light, black
Yeah.
is absence of light, but people are seen. So true, right? And like being seen, it's more than just being visible.
Recognized, acknowledged.
Well, that's enough about me, Mother Nature. Let's talk about you. What did you think of my last picture?
Haha, he's talking to nature.
Asking for feedback.
Like it's a collaborator. Okay, buckle up. 5 thoughts crashed at South Glovedy and Mandel, and then a bunch of random stuff, but thankfully no one was injured.
Sounds about right. Like inside his head, a whirlwind. Okay, this is classic Camblin. When you end an argument with a pessimist, you say, you're absolutely right. With an optimist, you say, it's a banana. As people move away from us, do they diminish in our eyes or mind or relativity?
Ah,
Always with the questions.
you're big and small.
Right. My attempts to stop arguing created an argument. Ironic, isn't it?
It happens.
If you argue or if you agree, you may learn, but you do not communicate. So what's he saying?
Deeper level of connection, maybe?
Yeah, going beyond just words. Okay, this is a bit of a head scratcher. The gate stays open, the fence is broken, he keeps searching, but does not know the size of his quarry. Yet he has faith. He looks in all directions. If he could only see all around all at once.
The search for something,
We don't know what, though.
driven by faith.
Revolution leads to changes. Evolution is change. The first will be man's misunderstanding. The second is understanding the balance will be found in our minds. Individually now, perhaps collectively later.
Evolution over revolution.
Interchange.
You never miss the water until the wells run dry.
So true.
Take things for granted.
6 starlings sitting among broken branches. Look, no buds are growing.
Bleak.
A bit, yeah. Every day the clouds circle our tower as if we again were the intruders.
Out of place.
Yeah, like he doesn't quite belong. There, beneath those rocks, poor fish, trapped by the changing tides. So much like us.
Forces beyond our control.
Yeah, nature reminding us. It wouldn't be too bad to come back as a fly if you knew your body would shine in the sun that way.
I love that.
Unexpected, right? Darning needles sew shimmer-lined tapestries of blue, green, and white bands.
Beautiful.
Bleached, textured, and white to taste and sight, pray ever avoid the lamp fate.
Cryptic.
Canvas rectangle, summer light, calligraphy, mystic and complete.
An idea forming.
Yeah, okay, these are just fragments. Eater of Christians, Chimera, Byzantium, warm, cold children's chair.
Like a tree.
Yeah, exactly. San Gimignano, calamari to oblivion, strange ways of magic, fragile grayed lady. Now tiptoe, now skirts high, sidewise hasty retreat. Chuck, chuck, water tongue, chuck, chuck, sound of foot to stone. This marble island.
Travel journal entries.
Yeah, little snippets.
Impressions.
And then a bunch of nature haikus. He really loved nature.
A constant source of inspiration.
Okay, and then these personal reflections. First child. Glory be. 7 years deprived, my dear, for economy. This strange mirror bright face cupped between my hands makes me seem so young.
So personal.
It's like we're getting to know him.
Nostalgia like guests and fish shouldn't be kept too long. The dredging of memory should only function if it serves to jog the archetype crevices of the reptilian brain.
Interesting take on memory.
Yeah, not getting stuck in the past. The artist today is the only free agent. He's not committed except so much as he desires it. We may be moving to a participatory type of art.
Freedom of the artist. And maybe blurring the lines between artist and audience. Religion, belief. If I believe in ghosts, I don't have to see one.
Yeah.
If I believe it's art, then it is. If I believe that I am completely ager, then I can't be convinced I'm not. Faith can aid and hinder.
Yeah.
So make discipline. So make communication. So can being in Camblin circa 1968.
It's all about what we choose to believe.
Yeah, shapes our whole world, really. Art is and it isn't, and now everyone knows. Love. Art, if experienced, no description is necessary, but often making out is confused with love, and feeling good is not always art.
Straight to the point.
Okay, this one's a doozy. Resist and submit, held in perfect balance, figure 4 times, into the thing, and 3 times back again. Stay out the last, if lucky. 4 times the trap is sprung, and 3 times the quarry flees, changing bait, the last time. 2 times the figure 4 and multiply my mistakes, the last time to infinity. When understood, all truth is funny. Don't let the demon of being right get in. Flow and think of what you are doing, not what you plan to do. Step off the train of thought.
Whoa.
That's a lot.
Action and reflection.
Yeah. And letting go of that need to be right. Okay. Historians love artistic madness when it isn't alive and well and attending meetings.
Not so glamorous, maybe.
And we can train ourselves to open instead of close the circuits of perception.
Expand our awareness.
Believing and knowing are different. Most people practice a belief or a religion. They were raised in mystics, know something else. They remain connected to a faith or abandon it, but they have been somewhere, and logic won't make the trip. One must look for the balance of intuition and logic.
Experience over belief.
History is believable when it is creative. Awareness can soften the shock. Familiarity allows us to participate. Creativity allows us to go beyond. Cynicism is a type of creativity gone destructive and ego-oriented. We all are creative, but we lose our magic in understanding everything instead of knowing.
Creativity is key.
Pushing up. Slowly as a tree growing effort of will, see the master heaping up of small things, no blame, draw, teach, search, reveal, always framed in paradox.
The power of small actions.
Right. And embracing contradictions.
Interesting.
So he talks a lot about eccentric works in the state-of-the-art world. He's not a fan of critics. He thinks art should be more pure, naive even. He says, a critic is a legless man who teaches running.
Wow.
One must find his own mystic switch, the rising hackle or the visceral knot. This is a truth, but it changes.
Trust your gut.
Yeah. One must learn not to look, but to see. One must try to fail in order to succeed. Success will be another failure. Process and awareness of it cannot be failure.
Failure is part of the process.
Right. He talks a lot about writing and drawing, how it's all connected to the mind. Nonverbal communication.
Interesting.
We have nothing to fear but fear ourselves. When Zen monks say that we are always the Buddha, but we keep forgetting it most of the time, I knew that, but now I know it.
Yeah.
Mirrors are not magic. They just seem to be. Everyone is a mirror, and that is magic. Laugh, laugh, laugh.
Yeah.
The jump. The fish doesn't know water, and the bird doesn't know air, but
If awareness is everything.
magic for power is negative. Magic for seeing is positive. Some seeing is magic. Some seeing is intellectual. Intellectual seeing may lead to art. Magic seeing leads to understanding and also to art. This art is more as it is tied to the endless part of life. The other is tied to culture. The real seeing has its own property of deception. It becomes a whirlpool of relationships going in all directions, form the point of entering. It is like trying to look at a scratch on your cornea. Art is the partial retention. Fool the eye, fool the mind.
Magic and art intertwined.
Just as you arrive at a technique that allows you to do the concepts that interest you, you become aware that in this disposable art culture, that the novelty is part of the looking, so ideas can change. But the viewer demands new techniques from the artist, if he's watching him for a period of time. The artist is caught in a dilemma. The technique allows him to produce, but the society is quickly bored if they aren't new. Stay anonymous, and you are free at least form friends. Yin and Yang Mandala. How unfortunate this has become popularized. The symbolists were right that in explaining something it was killed. Communications. How wonderful and how sad. How nice to finally mix fun and art. The years pass and influences come from here and there. Let's hope the intention is different and the forms diverse. The standard sign against the sunset, only we know what that means. What an accumulation of knowledge and how the communication is imparted, knowledge does not and cannot educate. The feeling cannot be transferred, except by experience. The statement as such is limited unless it can be reaffirmed generation after generation. I must accept the fact that the idiom I find shallow, might I say, communicate in 100 years. White crystals, white salt, white wing, white bones, dried feathers, dried flesh, dried rocks, dried sand, dead bird, dead lake, dead sand, dead land.
A struggle for meaning in a shallow world.
In making the best of it, one should remember, there are no mistakes, you are doing the best you can. And mistakes are nature's way of telling you to trust your instincts. Or the next mistake could be really bad. Pride goeth before a fall. Shakespeare cause and effect and reverse it. Loss of pride causes to fall, too much pride causes the fall causes loss of pride, the fall causes too much pride. Camblin, circa 1974. Two bits of a hologram arguing about which is the biggest instead of cooperating and looking at the picture with more detail. First chaos, then order chaos order, or vice versa hologram. The whole message. We are no longer shadows on the cave wall, we are holograms, and the more we get together, the clearer it becomes. We approach an edge of real time and await the inevitable necessity. See the universe as finite and steady state, or more of the same at a higher order, or all at once. Solipsists aren't crazy. They just misunderstand. Being aware of history, we are in fact living in the past, present, and looking into the future. It is a focus for Hilbert Space, since we all are here for one reason, to dream of how it works, and to bark and sing in harmony, each with our own limited instrument.
Wow, that's a lot to digest.
Time travel at the speed of enlightenment. Watching like a hawk. Flying in great circles, lazy eights of thermal updrafts. Up above us and below us we watch. He is doing what he has to do, but he's not earning a living. He has frees the wind and his nature. He will find food in the process, and his IRM, an inner rhythm movement, will connect, and he will kill, mate, etc. But most of the time he will be riding the currents of the territory. The snake has another was, a patience of less movement. The path of least resistance is complex for humans. The way back, long silence, melting rocks, infinite space, eternal time, a point of return, a cycle, a beginning and ending, the next step, and the next, an action required, a link to the past, a thread of the future. What was Lewis Sullivan doing in the broom closet? He was Irish and knew the meaning of honor, a blessing and a curse. Some crutches are wooden, some are gold. Futility and provocation at war with one another, not important. Be free, dolce far niente. Carefree idleness.
Okay, that's the end of the first batch of quotes. My head is spinning a little.
Yeah, he's a lot, isn't he?
So, quotes 2 starts with this phoenix image. A phoenix frozen in a salty shell, unable to burn itself to a new life. Trapped in that chrysalis of soda sand baked, not burned by desert dryness. It waits with its eternal mineral egg for the hatching fire.
Like potential waiting to be unleashed.
But stuck for now.
Then he talks about the meaning being revealed and it's empty. When each time comes, when it's said and the meaning revealed, we find it as an empty rib cage full of sand. We were not deceived, the living was the meaning. Those salty wings, a residue for those left behind to ponder and fret about at the end.
Meaning is in the living, he's saying.
Not in the outcome.
Yeah. And then there's this. It folds back into itself some 80 billion years from now. The bird and I will sit and wait for that magnificent Pulse Camblin 1966, Salt Lake City, Utah.
The vastness of time.
Yeah, putting things in perspective.
So there are also all these quotes from other thinkers that Camblin collected. Shinichi Suzuki, Helen Watts, William James, Jean-Paul Sartre, a Zen proverb, Henri Bergson, Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, Jean-Baptiste Lamarck, Arthur Koestler, Carl Jung, John Fowles, Fyodor Dostoevsky, J.D. Salinger, John Updike, John Barth, Lawrence Durrell, and Aldous Huxley. They talk about art, the self-belief, the unconscious, creativity, history, pretty much everything.
He was definitely a deep thinker, drawing from a lot of different sources.
Absolutely. So we also have some information on his concept of ecology of art, where he compares artists to different organisms in an ecosystem.
Each one contributing to the whole.
Yeah, and questioning, why artists are expected to be socially or politically engaged. Like, Maybe just by being an artist, they're already doing their part.
Just by existing, yeah.
Right. He talks about his own struggles, too, like how the images he's trying to capture are always shifting, dissolving, drawing on a frosted window.
Hard to grasp.
Yeah. And he's concerned about consumer art, how everything is so disposable.
The pressure to be new, to shock.
Right. There's this funny little bit about his teaching experience. The first year, I assumed. The second year, I capitulated. The third year, I'm teaching.
Sounds familiar.
And this gem about the ego? Your ego hidden and following you as gracefully as a goldfish's shit. Folded under the waving tail. How neat that thought is.
Classic Camblin.
Okay, so let's dive into his biography. It talks about his early life, born in Oklahoma, studied at the Kansas City Art Institute, got Fulbright to Italy.
Formative years.
Yeah. He taught at a bunch of prestigious schools, but then just left it all behind in 1976 to just focus on his art.
Wow.
He traveled all over, drawing inspiration from different cultures, and the focus here is on this collection of personal drawings and writings from the 50s to the 70s, never meant for the public.
Like a window into his soul.
Yeah. And critics, well, they love his work, but it seems to defy categorization.
Speaks to something deeper.
Right. So we learn about his early abstract impressionism and then this Muchas Volantes technique he developed, which is all about creating optical illusions.
Engaging the viewer.
Yes, not just passive looking.
Yeah.
And he collaborated a lot, even signing some works as anonymous.
Interesting.
And then there is his later works, like the Big Al series.
Yeah.
He was constantly evolving.
A true innovator.
Okay, we also have some excerpts from Zen and the Art of Enlightenment. It describes this painting, we believe, with warm colors, a lighter rectangle in the center, the word love, and some faint writing.
Intriguing.
Yeah, and the analysis is very positive. It's about hope, unity, creative freedom.
Positive affirmation.
Right. And then there's this YouTube video about the same painting, we believe. It's seen as an ode to hope, very uplifting, full of gratitude.
Interesting how different people interpret art.
Yeah, it connects the painting to Zen Buddhism, the I Ching, Lao Tzu.
Bringing in a lot of different philosophical traditions.
Right. And then some excerpts from reviews of the book, Zen and the Art of Enlightenment. It's described as a guide to, enlightenment through art and language, challenging how we see the world.
Makes sense.
And then a bunch of quotes about Bob Camblin, people describing him as a mystical trickster, someone who truly lived for art.
Quite a legacy.
And finally, we have this account from Earl Staley, Camblin's friend and collaborator. They were really close, did all sorts of crazy projects together. Staley even talks about how Camblin had a Mr. Peanut costume and used to sign his work that way. Eventually, he just became anonymous.
He really wanted to let go of the ego.
Yeah, it's a touching portrait of their friendship. So that's Bob Camblin, folks, a complex, enigmatic artist.
We only scratched the surface.
We did. What resonated with you? What are your thoughts on, well, anything we talked about today? Maybe even just the idea of an artist being so elusive.
Leaving more questions than answers.
Exactly. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time.